On what planet is it sane to think if they offer me 200 million, I'm going to let three men do what you said they did?
And Robert De Niro comes up to me and he says, "Yo, Pauly, let me just put my finger in your." And I said, "Whoa, bro, only if you give me $200 million."
Because this is the natural mode of operation for Hollywood anymore. You guys remember a movie named Encino Man? I remember Encino Man like it was yesterday. It was a cult classic, and it still is today. There were a couple of actors, Brandon Fraser, he was the actual Encino Man. And then there was this crazy, loudmouth, flamboyant guy, Pauly Shore. I don't know if you remember Pauly Shore, but he was really big in the 80s and 90s. Like, he was that kind of Animal House he was in it too, I believe. Don't quote me on that, but I believe he was in that. I do remember Encino Man. Now, Pauly was a different guy. I won't. He was very effeminate in his movements. Okay, but when we tell you what we're going to tell you next, I think it could explain a lot as to why he was the way he was and still is. He gave a story about going to and it's always about these meetings, going to a meeting to meet with these executives. And he encountered a bunch of actors there. Two very specific ones that he called out, uh, asked him to do some, you know what? I'll let him tell you what happened. You just take a listen, and because I don't think I can repeat what it is, I'm gonna let him do it. Here you go.
And Robert De Niro comes up to me and he says, "Yo, Pauly, let me just put my finger in your." And I said, "Whoa, bro, only if you give me $200 million." And he said, "I got you." So he said he gave me $200 million. De Niro and Pacino and fucking Joe Pesci put their finger in my ass. I get escorted to leave, and the rest is history.
Okay. So the names Robert De Niro. Y'all know that one, right? Joe Pesci. Okay. And Al Pacino. All of these guys talk as though they're gangsters. Okay, so what he just said was kind of it's unsettling, but the way he said it was so normal to him, almost like he's okay with it because of the amount of money that he got. Now, I don't know whether he's ratting on himself, ratting on the industry, bragging about it, or upset. I couldn't tell, partially because he was wasted, like he was drunk. They say you could either not trust a drunk or fully trust a drunk. Since I've never seen Paulie drunk before, what he's been saying, since we have other people that went through the same thing, I can only assume that he's a honest drunk, where where all of inhibitions are gone, and the alcohol takes away the filter for the lying, and he just blatantly says everything. Blah, and there you have it. I can only assume that. But let's, for a minute, for the sake of argument, assume that what he says is 100% true. Joe Pesci, Al Pacino, and Robert De Niro did what he said they did to him by inserting fingers into certain orifices to the tune of $200 million. Um, Paulie, I don't know exactly how to say this without seeming rude, but I will risk it since we don't know each other. On what planet is it sane to think if they offer me 200 million, I'm going to let three men do what you said they did? I have to believe one of two things. You were really hard up for cash and 200 million sounded really good. Or you were already doing that and you just happened to get 200 million out of it. I can't believe that you went through with it out of coercion. I mean, I get 200 million, but I'm confused, I guess, but I'm also not confused because this is the natural mode of operation for Hollywood anymore. They ask you to, and do you guys find it weird that they always seem to sacrifice something sexual? Do you want to know why? I think I may have a theory as to why the sexual side of it is so intriguing to the Hollywood elites and to those people that exploit children. I think I know why. And here's my theory on it. I believe that they use it because it is one of the most base instincts for humans. It is one that we have to fight from almost conception. Here's what I mean. As a child, you go through these attraction and unattraction modes in your life to both parents and people around. 8-year-old might have a crush on somebody and they just happen to have it. It shows up in their life. But it's one of the most basic parts of human growth. Hollywood knows that because it is part of our base makeup, it is the very first and real thing that will connect us to them and to anything we do. So why not? How many of you have, before you got married, say how many of you are married, I hope, but if, before you got married or you met the one of the dreams and you were having interrelations with the other sex, how many of you remember feeling a connection but not understanding why? All you did was sleep with them. But there was an automatic inability to, one, forget, or two, scrub them almost from your soul, because it's innate to you by your base nature. Hollywood knows this. The elite knows this. This is why they go after that. You see, the best way to tie you to them is to make you never forget. Even if that means in the violation of your body, you make sure you never forget. You want to know why children scar so easily and so long after being abused sexually? That's why. There's a portion of that person that ties themselves to them now. Pauly gave that up for $200 million. Then he goes on to say, I don't know how many people are going to come after me. Why are you worried about who's coming after you now? You should have been worried about who's coming up behind you when you were given that $200 million. But you were fine with whoever was behind you. Now you're concerned about who's coming after you because you're spilling the beans? It tells me then that you didn't want to spill the beans. So I might be right that the alcohol was making you an honest person. Maybe he's concerned now that he's told everybody how he got to where he got. Mind you, he was never a good actor. I don't believe that Pauly Shore got the roles he got because he was a good actor. He was a caricature on screen. He played alongside people who could actually act. So he was a niche actor, if you want to put it that way. There are tons of them like that. People that can't do anything else. Vin Diesel. I can't do anything else, so they just do action. The Rock. That's all they do. And when they try to do emotional stuff, it absolutely is trash because they're niche actors. That was Pauly Shore. But he was a niche actor for the time that they needed that type of niche actor, introducing an effeminate male into a role, make it funny, make it normal. This was back in the 80s and 90s now. Make it able to be accepted and palpable to the public. Pauly Shore did it through humor, and he did it through his antics, and people accepted it. Perhaps, Pauly, that 3-finger initiation that you did was because you needed to get the money, but Hollywood needed you to push their agenda to where it is today. In other words, you're an errand boy. And as much as you might regret doing it now, the damage is already done. Besides, you never really apologized for going through with it. You just said what happened. Maybe one day you might come out and say, you know what, guys, I don't know why I partook in this nonsense. I regret it every day. But I guess you have to regret it first in order to say that. So maybe the regret will hit later. Or you might go and take another 3-finger discount. Who knows? Either way, I'm not holding my breath, nor am I dropping any soap in front of you.